Hola, bienvenido a Nuestra podcast, Desahogamiento. Estoy aquí en mi casa con mi amiga Reina y este nuevo episodio es un espacio para la reflexión, el bienestar comunitario y la introspección. Today we're going to talk about summer in Minnesota, connecting with our family and our community, and how to reemerge out into the beautiful outdoor spaces of Minnesota after a very long winter that we've all had. I would like to welcome my co-host today, Reina. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for letting me join. I've known Sarah for 4.5 years. We worked together at a community health center, and I grew up in upstate New York, but I've been in Minnesota now 5.5 years. Technically grew up here, technically did not, because my whole family's here, so we came every single year to visit. So, and I'm rambling because I'm nervous.
That's okay. We're so glad that Reina is here. Reina es una tía. Reina es an auntie para un sobrino de nuestra comunidad. Do you want to tell us about your nephew, Reina?
Yes. So I have an adorable 5-year-old nephew. He lives in Puerto Rico with his mom. But my brother does everything he can to go down to Puerto Rico to visit him as much as possible. And he just was here this past week. So we got to spend a whole week with him. And he's bilingual. So Spanish is his primary language. And it's really important for my family, especially my brother and myself, to learn Spanish so that, you know, we can speak with him, but also out of respect, because, you know, we want him to know that we respect his culture, we respect where he's from and the language, and that it's important to us. And he's so cute. And I did speak in Spanish to him once, and he goes, "Auntie, English." So I'm not that great yet. I'm still learning. I'm still a novice. So I apologize in advance for not being as fluent as you. He's an adorable little boy that I love more than anything. And then I have a new nephew coming in September. So
yay!
My sister-in-law, who is fabulous, is Sol.
Our wonderful leader here at the station, Minnesota Latin Radio. Yeah, and I'll say, Reina, you can definitely, we'll just learn Spanish by osmosis together. I've been practicing for many years, but it's all about practice and the people who are willing to say the things in English and Spanish to me. So we're going to do that today on Desahogamiento, because it's such a beautiful way that you expressed that speaking Spanish is about respect. We've talked about that here on this podcast. I think almost every episode that comes up as a common thread is that speaking someone else's language and speaking the Spanish language here in Minnesota it's an act of love. It's an act of friendship, and it's definitely at the bottom of everything. It is a sign of respect. So yes, absolutely. Thank you for naming that. Yeah, it's such a beautiful thing. And then I'll say also, in terms of your nephew, a veces los hijos tienen más ciertos, más verdades de los adultos. The kids sometimes have more truth and more righteousness than adults, right? Because they don't have a filter, and that's such a beautiful thing.
It is sometimes.
Yeah.
He just, I can't talk enough about him, and I don't want this whole podcast to be about my adorable nephew. So let's start with your ideas here for the summer.
Okay. So connecting with our family is a major part of how we can express ourselves and create safety in the community. Summer in Minnesota is the perfect opportunity to get outside and meet your neighbors. And it's nothing short of a hard-earned reward in Minnesota, is these beautiful summers, especially last winter when we all endured Operation Metro Surge. It felt like we were stuck inside against our own will.
And some people, sorry to interrupt, people are still feel like they can't leave. Some people still are afraid to leave their houses. And the fact that we live in a world today that's happening is it's tragic.
It is.
Yeah.
Es triste. It's very sad. Es muy triste.
Yeah.
But after months of surviving the cold, especially this year, our state transforms, and we can all transform our hearts and connect with our Spanish-speaking friends and neighbors. Mm-hmm. The trees canopy over our streets, and our 10,000 lakes sparkle. And our public parks become a vibrant living extension of our living rooms.
Yep.
So today we're talking about the immense value of making intentional connections during these warm months, connections with nature, connections with ourselves, and then deep connections with the communities around us. So I'll just speak a little Spanish here, Reina, for a moment. Nuestros parques públicos en Minnesota están increíblemente cuidados y son completamente accesibles. Son un recurso invaluable. Pero más allá de ser un lugar bonito para un picnic, estos espacios verdes actúan como un escenario crucial para el bienestar emocional y relacional. So connecting with nature, it's not just about getting outside and taking a walk. There's a deeper value to that. And when you do it by yourself, there's more connection that you can make with your environment. And then also with our friends and family, we can just multiply, right? Just multiply the value of being outdoors.
Yeah. Especially if you're like us and you're indoors all day long. It's hard to get out of the office. And then when you do, you got a million things to do when you get home. So it's really important, especially family time outside, enjoying the nice weather, because we live in Minnesota and it's not going to last long.
Right, exactly. What do they say here, Reina? I'm also a transplant to Minnesota. They said there's 2 seasons, winter and road construction.
Construction. Yeah, it's true.
It is true. So we'll talk a little bit about the healing qualities. I know Reina is super into healing. As we've developed our friendship over the years, mm-hmm. Healing has been a common thread in so many different ways. Art therapy, stone therapy, talk therapy. There's so many different ways mm-hmm. that you can connect. And this is just a good point too, is that these skills are transferable and totally neutral space with mm-hmm. family, friends, coworkers. In any space, you can find neutral territory in just being human and connecting with nature. So just no matter what your coworkers or the lady at the grocery store, no matter what their values are, one thing I think everyone can agree on is that the sunshine in Minnesota is the best.
Yeah. It's funny because, I grew up in upstate New York near Syracuse, and we had a lot more cloudy than we did sunny. And after, in my 20s, I moved to North Carolina. And in North Carolina, it's sunny every day. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I moved south that I realized how much the sun really affects your mental health. And then on days that it was cloudy in North Carolina, I got kind of like, oh. And I never realized that in Syracuse because, like I said, that's just what we grew up with. But that's what I love about Minnesota, though, is because it can be -50 and the sun will still shine.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's actually neuroscience developed studies, and there's a psychologist named Carl Rogers. Have you ever heard of Carl Rogers?
The name sounds familiar.
Yeah, so he is the pioneer for the humanistic relational approach and doing person-centered healing approaches. So there's different benefits to connecting with nature at different phases of life. So let's start with your nephew. He is just a little kiddo. So for young children, the outdoors is a sensory powerhouse. Connecting with nature stimulates the development of the cerebral cortex through unstructured play, which, you actually just spoke to as adults, because we sit in these structured environments all day, and we still, we're still our former version of ourselves. We still need some unstructured space, and nature is the perfect way to nurture that. So it builds what neuroscientists call cognitive flexibility and spatial awareness. When children interact with natural elements, their brains are actively practicing problem solving, emotion regulation, and reducing symptoms of stress and preparing for lifelong learning.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's just, even if someone can grab a sandwich and go outside and eat lunch at the picnic table with coworkers, or go for a walk, or, depending what your job is. I will say for myself, getting up from my desk because I'm so busy, and Sarah understands, I don't leave the clinic until it's the end of the day. So when I go outside at the end of the day and I've been cold all day, I don't sometimes realize that it's 100 degrees outside, and it's like freezing in the building. So it's kind of like those things that I need to change. So I need to start getting up more. I need to get outside more, especially with the nice weather, and just be in the sun, just appreciate it.
Yeah. I'll just paraphrase what you said to our Spanish-speaking audience, because the beauty of this show, Desahogamiento, is that we create the bridge of language. So I'll paraphrase Reina. Ella se dice que es muy importante por tus emocionales y por sus lugares para observar y leer tu lugar. Cuando tienes frío o cuando tienes calor en cada espacio, es importante que tienes un momentito de introspección y reflexión. ¿Cómo estoy aquí en mi pupitre en trabajo? ¿Cómo estoy aquí al lado de un árbol? Hay cada emoción por cada espacio. So let's jump into adolescence. The teenage brain undergoes massive remodeling, particularly in the prefrontal cortex. So this is where I'm starting to train my practice, is to specialize in a couple different things. And one of them is adolescence, which we call in the clinical space emerging adults. So the prefrontal cortex develops between the ages of 16 to 24, depending on environmental and cultural things. But spending time in natural spaces actually lowers the activity of the amygdala in the brain. And the outdoor social connections give adolescents a healthy sense of belonging and risk assessment away from the constant overstimulation. Me and Raina didn't have this when we were kids, but of screen times and social media.
Oh, I grew up in a tiny town in, upstate New York, and be back before it gets dark out. I was all over town. I didn't necessarily always hang out with the best people, so I wasn't always staying out of trouble. Right. But you didn't really have a lot going on. So, that's just the bit of the difference there. But now it's like tablets and phones. Even my nephew, sometimes he's so wild and so energetic because he's 5. Yep. Sometimes we just give him the tablet. He'll ask for grandma's tablet and he'll play a racing game. And that's the only time sometimes we can get him to just be.
Land.
Yeah. But he also loves to be outside. He loves soccer right now. Not a big fan of baseball. We took him to a game last Tuesday or Wednesday. He's like, I don't want to go to baseball. But what a great experience for my brother bringing his son to a baseball game. But, he does love soccer. So, and I like soccer too. It's just all he wants to do is play soccer and watch soccer. But at least that's getting him outside.
Yeah. And that brings up a really good point for different ways to connect outside. You can go to a baseball game. That's an outdoor family event. Cuando estás en una partida de béisbol, puedes una oportunidad para hablar con tus vecinos en los días allá. When you go to a baseball game, you can talk to the neighbors in your seats next to you. It's such a great way to connect. And then also some other things too to do with, the whole family, all the age ranges, going to the lake.
Oh yeah. It's Minnesota. Everyone goes to the lake, or they have a cabin by the lake. That's just how it is here. I will say, and I haven't gotten there since I moved back, but Minnehaha Falls is a great place to go with the family. You can picnic, you can hike, and then I think it's Lake Biddy. Yeah, I'm not very good at pronouncing that. My apologies. But what I will say is this past week, we took Braden to a park in Maple Grove called Central Park. And it's in the middle of all these apartment buildings, but there's a water feature and there's this huge park where they can climb things. And it's just so many kids there, all of different ages. Braden is really tall for a 5-year-old. So some people, like, he'll be next to someone his same age and they'll be like, whoa. So, so that's one thing, like, that, you know, when he's playing with kids, he has to remember that he's a little bit bigger, even though they're the same age. But it's just fun to watch him following other kids and being in the sun, and then, you know, just having a blast. Yeah. And you can sit back as a parent in the sun, in the shade, relax, read a book, and just, you know, keep an eye on your child, of course, but, you know, just let them go, let them have fun.
Absolutely. I'll just say that for our Spanish-speaking audience. Okay. Hay tres lugares que Reina te recomendaré. La primera es los Falls de Minnehaha. Los Falls de Minnehaha. Por favor, escríbelo. Este es un espacio que tiene... hay un poquito restaurante, pero pienso que cuando llegué con una picnic, es más bueno. Necesitas comida, bebidas y tu familia solamente. Y los falls de Minnehaha son guapísimas. Y el segundo lugar que Reina te recomendaré es the Maple Grove. What is it? Maple Grove.
Central Park.
Central Park, Maple Grove. Maple Grove es una ciudad en el noreste de Minneapolis. Pienso que es más o menos de 30 minutos de el calle Lago, East Lake Street. Y todo está gratis. Los dos lugares son gratis. Both those places are free. Solamente necesita que llegues con comida y con tu familia y por bebidas. No puedes nadar a los falls de Minnehaha, pero necesitas una, ¿cómo se dice? Bathing suit. That's going to be a new one. I forget how you say bathing suit.
Just the name bathing suit gives me a complex.
I know, right?
Maybe it's summer, but yeah.
But here we'll circumlocute. La ropa para nadar. Clothes to swim. So, and then the third place that you mentioned is Bedemacasca. Bedemacasca es menos de 10 minutos de East Lake Street en Minneapolis. Puedes caminar a este lago con tu ropa de nadar y hay personas allá que están trabajando por tu segura de tus hijos y por tuyo. For todo de tu familia. There's lifeguards at Bedemacasca. So, yes, that you brought up a really good point, Reina, too, is that we as parents and as aunties, as tías y padres, necesita tiempo con nuestra familia, pero cuando estás aquí en la misma lugar, necesito tiempo para leer y para relajar. We might have our families with us, but we still need time to read and relax ourselves. So those are really great spots, Reina, that you mentioned. So for older adults, nature serves as a powerful antidote to stress. It reduces cortisol levels, and it activates what's called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest mode. So perfect reference to read a book while your kiddos are playing on the splash pad in Maple Grove.
Yeah.
Connecting with nature in social groups mitigates the isolation that so easily creeps into our adult lives, enhancing executive functioning and boosting creative problem solving. Yeah. And then we have nuestra abuelos y abuelas, our grandparents, and me and Reina would call them our parents, but our kiddos and our nephews, abuelos. Yeah. In the later phases of life, regular outdoor connection is an incredible tool for neuroprotection. So nature can actually create a protective factor for the body and the mind, because we all know that emotions do manifest in our bodies, and they can influence different functions of our bodies, like our gut health or our sleep hygiene or, motivation, right? Like you said, Reina, you're sort of obligated to stay inside all day, no matter how much you love your job. When you get outside, you're like, wow, I I really needed that. I had a very fulfilling day at work, and now it's time to have that work-life balance and go to the lake, right? Cuando estás bien con tu trabajo cada día, necesitas tiempo para relajar. Y en el verano en Minnesota, puedes caminar por un lago gratis. Solamente necesita una hora para relajar. Tienes un tiempo para introspección. Just reflect on your day and just déjale. Leave the work. Deja el trabajo.
It's also a great time for parents or anyone with kids or, aunties, grandparents to meet people out. Go out to a restaurant, sit outside, just decompress from the day. As you can see, I'm decompressing myself, although I'm inside. It's just to get that kind of, that energy you get when you get with your friends and you're outside, and just the weather itself just makes you just feel like, it's going to be okay.
It's humanizing.
Yep, it really is. I will say though, as someone who's spiritual, if there's a full moon, and right now is Mercury retrograde started, if your mood is a little bit off, and some people might not believe in this, totally understandable. But if it's a full moon and you can't sleep like me, or your mood is a little off, just think about, what you can do to clear your mind. And if you focus on the positive during that time, you'll probably more than likely have the less negative. Like with Mercury retrograde, everyone always is nervous about it. It technology wise, like miscommunication, all that fun stuff. And you just gotta, what am I trying to say?
Persevere.
Yes.
Just get through the phase, right?
Get
the different phases of life. It's like the different phases of the moon. That's a beautiful point. I'm going to translate that.
Okay.
Rena tiene una recomendación para cuando nos vemos los partes de la luna durante un mes. Hay la luna a la primera del mes, la media de un mes y por el fin del mes. Hay una otra luna para cada día. Casi siempre, porque nos están humanos, nuestras emocionales a veces están dependientes de la luna. Y ahora Reina tiene mucha información. Ella te quiere que leer mucha información por la luna y por otros planetas. Y ahora ella se dice que la luna y la otra planeta se llama Mercury, son se convertir energía ahora. Y cuando la luna y Mercurio que convertir energía, a veces nuestra comunidad, personas individualmente, no puedes dormir. Y cuando estás en este espacio en tu cabeza, con tus emociones, con tu corazón, y estás en tu cama, pero no puedes dormir, es un tiempo perfecto para reflejar. Porque tengo energía, porque yo estoy sueño, pero no puedo dormir. ¿Cuál es la razón ahora? Y por Reina, es una oportunidad para reflejar y para leer el espacio de la luna como las otros planetas. Y es una ciencia de fe por mucha gente. Y a veces hay estudios de académicos que se dice la misma. Si cuando una persona está en una luna total durante el mes, cuando hay una luna total, hay mucha gente que no puede dormir. Y cuando estás en ese espacio, necesitas que reflejar y relajar y compartir información con nuestro corazón y para respirar. We need to just share this information about the moon to our heart if we can't sleep, and just breathe through it. Like you said, Raina, just breathe through it. Just be with it. It's going to pass, just like the phases of life.
Yeah. You have a bad day, it's just one bad day. The next day, the next hour, you could totally turn it around. You just got to think positive, and that's what I try to do. And that's why Sarah and I are so close at work and stuff, is because we both have that kind of positivity that we like to bring in the workplace and around people that we're with.
Absolutely.
And I think spiritual wise, we kind of have the same beliefs as well. So that helps as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, tomorrow's July. So
yep.
Enjoy the summer where you can.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
It'll be 3 months, solamente 3 meses para el verano en Minnesota y necesito mucho tiempo en el aire fresca con tu familia y tus compañeros y tus amigas, tus abuelos, tus tías, tus hijos, tus sobrinos, toda la gente que tiene una parte de tu corazón por.
You know, it's funny, and I keep smiling when you're talking because I'm catching things.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like screw notes and stuff like that, and other things that you're saying. So when you're talking, I know from what I've been taught, what you're saying. I can understand it more than I can speak it right now.
And you know, Reina, we'll do like a case study on the osmosis of Spanish to Reina. We'll record it. We'll come up with a brand new topic next season. Yeah. Maybe we'll have like Reina as like our seasonal guest. So pienso que ojalá tenemos tiempo por Reina en un otro episodio en el futuro y necesitamos una episodio cada parte del año para verano, otoño, invierno y la primavera. Necesito Reina 4 tiempos por año, and we'll talk about each season and ways we can take advantage of it and connect with each other in our Minnesota Latin community. I'll just say one more thing before we close. Reina, muchísimas gracias por tu tiempo hoy. Thank you so much for your time today.
Of course. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm hoping to be on again where we could talk about Puerto Rico and travel.
That's a really good idea.
In the last couple of years, my brother's been there a million times. We have some great gems that, you know, are a little outside the tourist. And Puerto Rico, San Juan, Vega Baja, great places to go. So I look forward to those future conversations as well.
Absolutely. So I'll just close us out for today. Aprovechemos este verano en Minnesota. Salgan a los parques, respiren el aire fresco, apoyen los negocios locales y extienden una mano para conectar con alguien nuevo. Gracias por acompañarme en este episodio de Desahogamiento. Nos vemos en la próxima entrega. Manténganse conectados, cuiden de sus mentes y cuiden de los suyos. Hasta pronto.
Gracias, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.